Big turbo. Aux fuel. Ouch. Fiesta ST. What's up guys, I'm Lett with Autosport. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. All right, that's over with. Now to what the video is about. We've got a 2019 Fiesta ST on the dyno today. I've tuned this car before on 91 octane and we maxed out the stock fuel system. So now we've got the car back with a 4-port aux fuel system installed, and we're going to be turning it up and seeing what kind of power we can get out of this thing. For mods, the only one that really matters is the GTX 2860. The 28 is a little bit bigger than what I like to see on these Fiestas, but the 2860 is probably the absolute biggest that I would run without some kind of spool assistance like nitrous. You'll see in the graphs as we get into this tune how it can be a little bit slow to spool, but once it comes on, it comes alive. So before we start tuning this car with the aux fuel installed, there's a couple things you gotta do. First and foremost, always make sure that the car has oil, which I've already done. And then secondly, we gotta make sure that the aux fuel works. So what I do is I flash a test map onto the split-second controller here, and then I go through and I plug in injectors one at a time with the car running, see if it starts to go rich. You can hear the engine change sound as it injects fuel from that one injector, that extra fuel, and you can also feel the injector pulsing when you plug it in. So you just quickly test each injector. Already done that. Aux fuel setup works. That means the rest of the job is easy. It's just plugging in numbers, basically. I'm going to go ahead and flash an aux fuel map on the split-second controller to start, and then we're gonna start doing some pulls and get the fuel dialed in. And then after we get the fuel dialed in, we can start bringing up the boost, make sure the spark advance is where we want it. And that's about it as far as the main things that we care about when tuning. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, but a lot of it is kind of taken care of in the development of good base maps, which I have a really good starting place for these cars. So it makes getting it calibrated and dialed in with different mods a little bit easier when you can start with a good base map. If you are getting an e-tune from us for one of these cars, you'll receive that base map with 0% wastegate duty cycle, and that will give you a good safe place to start doing pulls, start making sure everything is hooked up correctly, and we'll go from there to turn everything up a little bit at a time in a safe way to make sure that you have a really good experience and we get all the power out of the car that we can safely. So with the aux fuel turned on, the first pull went fairly rich. So I am going to be pulling some fuel out. There's a few different ways to do this on the Fiesta. We also got some knock, which is, I need to pull some spark advance out. So what happens is as you're adjusting for fuel, your load will decrease because you're kind of telling the car that there's less air in it to get it to inject less fuel so that you're not maxing out the direct injectors. But when you do that, your load calculation is off a little bit, and so your load actually comes down and then spark advance goes up. So that's one thing you got to be careful with, and we did get a little bit of knock on that pull, but nothing too crazy. So I'm going to pull some spark advance out and I'm going to pull more fuel out, and we will see what it does on the next pull. right, so after that one, fuel looks way better. We're actually hitting our AFR targets spot on. Fuel trims are no longer going stupid rich, and our spark advance actually looks really good. I think we got a little bit more room in it for some more timing once we get the boost where we want it, but it is actually holding pretty close to the boost that I want. For now, being that we are on 91 octane, I'm not going to be pushing a crazy amount of boost. At some point in the future, in the near future, this car will be back for an ethanol blend tune. We're going to run at least E50. We might run fully 85 on this one, I'm not sure yet. For now on 91 octane, we are going to be knock limited, and I'm finding the balance of boost and spark advance, because I don't like to over boost the car. I'd rather have a nice balance of boost and spark advance, and not just be like all of the boost and none of the spark advance, because you end up with a better tune when you balance it out, and the car is happier. So anyways, that is the next step, is going to be fine tune the boost curve a little bit, and then see if it'll take any more spark. Alright, so that's going to wrap this up. We ended at 328 foot-pounds of torque and 359.9 horsepower, which for 91 octane I think is pretty good for this car. I don't want to keep pushing it too much, because as I was trying to get a little bit more boost up top, I was running into knock, more spark advance, more knock, so I finally dialed in the happy medium. We actually made as much as 368 wheel horsepower at one point, but it wasn't on a very clean pull, so I ended up pulling some of the spark advance out. This is much happier right now. The car's happier, and that's what I want, is the car to happy and be consistent. So I don't want to over tune the car and it have issues later on. I'd rather it be nice and consistent and happy. So anyways, that's where it's at now. That wraps up this tune. I can't wait to get this car back on the dyno here before too long, so that we can get some ethanol in it, because at that point we will no longer be knock limited or fuel limited with the AUX fuel. So we'll really be able to turn this thing up and see what she'll take. I think we might even be able to get it to around 400 wheel horsepower if the turbo will give it to me, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying these videos and the content that we're providing. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel for more videos like this and others, and we'll catch you next time.